We're very lucky this afternoon to have some residents of the Medway towns, which are near Kingsnorth coal-fired power station, where last year's climate camp was. And we want to ask them what's been happening in the last year. So, Steve, what's been going on?
Well, there's been we had the climate camp who came down, obviously, which was really the thing that kicked off the local campaign. We also were very lucky back in, I think it was October time, that Greenpeace brought Rainbow Warrior up the Medway towns and did an outreach, and lots of us got to go on the Rainbow Warrior, which was jolly nice. We've done leafleting, we've had petitions. We've recently handed in a petition of 1,300 signatures to one of the local MPs who has just given it to Ed Miliband. And now, of course, we've got the Tipping Point shop that has just opened as an outreach centre.
Okay, I'll come on to that in a second. Well, wasn't there a guy who, wasn't there a group that actually shut the station down for a while? That got some interesting media, didn't it?
I believe there was a local from Gillingham or somewhere like that who, on his own, I believe, I don't know too much about it as I wasn't involved, who actually shut it down for a while, and nobody noticed that there was anything wrong with the power supply, hence the argument about switching the lights off. I thought that was
so what was that argument?
ruined. Part of E.ON's arguments has been if you don't have coal-fired power station, there will be, there's the power gap, energy gap, and there will be lights being switched off, etc. And we have to have our lights. And
so the campaign is saying this is a myth.
Oh yes, and we're against CCS as well. I've forgotten what that means. My memory's carbon capture and storage.
Which we don't know whether that works yet or anything.
Well, it's just a research project really in various places, and the government's plans are not to insist on whichever company has to run the process won't have to put it into place till 2020. So it's a pointless.
Which is already too late. Right?
Yes, precisely.
Okay, Miriam, this new campaign of the Tipping Point, tell us about that. This is a local campaign in the Medway Towns area.
Well, Tipping Point is just actually we're trying to approach residents is a softly way and then get involved with the kids and parents. And meantime, we're trying to give them the knowledge about what's going on with the Kingsnorth and getting their supports. And we're happy to do that.
So
we are proud with the Tipping Point.
You're working with kids and so.
And parents as well, and then we got coffee shops, things like that, and workshops. So we approach it easily to give them knowledge about the Kingsnorth and then what's going on there next door.
Okay, that sounds great. We had some kids come down to the camp last year, and we filmed them, and they had some hassles from the police who'd said, "Oh, it's not safe for you to go in there." So they come in with some of us, and and got in that way. So I mean, obviously that's the future. So where do you go from here? Because the government's plans are rolling ahead, aren't they, Steve?
Yes, they are. I mean, it looks like as far as we know, they're going to make a decision probably sometime in the autumn about the go-ahead. It seems fairly likely that what they're going to agree to is that E.ON will be allowed to build their coal-fired power station as long as they have a little bit of CCS to see if it's commercially viable. Under those circumstances, of course, then
this is the so-called carbon capture
and storage. Yes,
yeah.
Yes. I mean, the fact is that. What many people don't actually understand is that it's not going to be carbon capture and storage for the whole plant. It is going to be a demonstration element. A small part of it, they will capture the carbon, and then they've got to try and dispose of it somewhere. And they're obviously E.ON are making a big thing of this, but actually, of course, the reality is the vast majority of it will be unabated coal from open cast coal mines or brought in from abroad.
And Miriam, what are you asking for Climate Camp to actually contribute to this campaign?
Well,
Pauline, or
shall I help? We haven't asked them to contribute to the campaign. Climate Camp is a useful resource, and it certainly proved to be so last summer. And it is still for us, and its tipping point has turned out to be a place where we get lots of new ideas. We're expanding our ideas on what kind of things we can do, perhaps getting a bit braver about direct action, or what we see as direct action. And really, we need to start committing ourselves to things like the Big If. And one of our members is committed to joining in the whatever will happen on the day that the decision is made, should it be at Kingsnorth, to block that action, to block that happening.
So that's a date to look out for, and the potential for action around that, definitely. Steve, you're secretary of the Medway Trades Union Council.
I am indeed.
Could you
yes.
tell us how it's going with the trade unions in terms of engaging with the climate change issue?
It's something that's beginning to grow quite importantly. We had, before the climate camp came to Kingsnorth last year, we had lengthy debate on the Trades Council about whether we were prepared to support it or not. And I mean, it was often quite heated, because there are some people who say, well, we have to preserve the jobs of the coal industry and fossil fuel industry. And
it's not many jobs in Kingsnorth, is it?
In Kingsnorth, it's not very many jobs, and it will be even less when the new power station will employ fewer people than the old one. There are going to be a lot of construction jobs, which is going to be a problem for us, I think, quite clearly, because there's a lot of unemployment amongst construction workers, and people are going to want any kind of job that they can get.
So how did that decision go?
The decision that after a lengthy debate, the overwhelming majority supported the motion that we should back the campaign against Kingsnorth. I mean, it is by no means, it wasn't unanimous, and we've in fact at our last meeting it was agreed we are setting up a subcommittee to sort of again go into all the arguments so that we can come out with something, on a trade, provide a sort of trades union policy. We had actually, before the climate camp arrived there at our AGM, we actually had passed a motion to affiliate the campaign against climate change, which has got there's a trade union group on the campaign against climate change, and we had the conference, and we've had a couple of conferences, and this is something that is beginning. The message is beginning to get through. There is a growing sort of awareness of the issue of climate change, that we need to do something.
Well, thanks very much, and good luck with your growing campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was really good. Was it? Mention how to make a difference.
Yeah, well, I can't